This video is going to walk you through Essay 2 evaluation, and it is a step up from your last essay, which didn't ask you to look at any outside sources but just your own memories and your own analysis of your own experience. This is going to get you prepared for Essay 3, which will be a typical research paper, and I know many of you have a lot of experience writing research papers already, but I know that when I was in high school I didn't have a lot of experience with that, and so I want to make sure everyone's on the same page and feeling really comfortable about forming an argument and backing it up with evidence, as well as incorporating a source and citing it, so that you feel really comfortable for that going into the third essay, which is a researched argument. So you're going to be doing some primary and secondary research. You'll be developing and supporting an organized evaluation with credible evidence. You'll be definitely identifying and persuading an audience to agree with you using reasoning and evidence. You'll also be using summary, analysis, and evaluation to support your overall judgment. And evaluation is synonymous with judgment. You'll then be synthesizing outside information with your evaluation, so that means whatever your subject matter is, you'll be bringing in examples from that. And you'll also be using a source to back up your argument or as an objection in your argument. And then you'll be practicing citing primary and secondary sources using MLA format. So really what you're doing is you're going to choose a movie, a book, an album, a television series, any form of media. If it's not one of those, just go ahead and send me an email and ask me. And basically you're going to tell the audience why they should or shouldn't watch the movie, listen to the album, watch the TV series. And these are some guidelines to follow. So it is an argument, and a lot of times we make arguments or have reactions to things and say we like them without really thinking about why we like them so much. And so the goal here is to really think through and include evidence to convince your reader to agree with you. So you can't just say your subject is good or bad. You can on your working thesis, but not ultimately, right? You want to tell us why you think it's good or bad, and specifically apply that to the type of media you selected. So if you have a romantic comedy movie, it's going to be a lot different criteria probably than for a documentary. Or if you're listening to an Eminem album, it's going to be a little different than a Taylor Swift album, for example, right? So you want to consider audience and the genre and all of those things. And then you must determine who your audience is and write in a way that appeals to them. So if you're trying to convince people to watch, let's say, a Will Ferrell movie, maybe the romantic comedy people are not going to be super interested, right? So you want to think carefully about who are you writing this to. Your ultimate goal for this essay is to have a clear, authoritative judgment so that you seem like an expert, even if you're not, and then appropriate reasons and convincing support. So that means you should offer an overall recommendation as to whether the audience should watch it or read it or listen to it or whatever it is. You definitely want to have a judgment, but it's backed up with evidence and analysis. You're free to discuss positive and negative aspects, but I should know by the end of your evaluation whether or not you think I should watch the movie or listen to the album overall, even if it has some drawbacks. So you'll want to be really careful with organization so that you're not just jumping around to random examples, and that's why I'm highly recommending that you state what your 3 criteria or reasons are in your thesis statement, and then you have body paragraphs that develop each of those one at a time. And we have a sample outline we can look at too. So I'll definitely be looking for these things, so I would really focus here: a clear overall judgment and recommendation, specific and appropriate criteria, also known as reasons, response to objections, strong support and evidence, including your outside source, so you do have to bring in one source, good audience awareness, effective organization, and engaging writing. You don't need to state who your audience is, but if you're, describing a horror movie and it sounds like you're talking about, all the touching moments in the horror movie, it may not be that your audience is looking for that. So it may be that they are, but you'd have to make that clear in your essay. So it's 3 to 4 double spaced pages in length. You'll be citing 2 sources at least. That would be your outside movie or film or music review, as well as the primary source, which is the album or movie or book itself. And I have a sample outline you can look at here. We'll jump over to that in a second. And it's roughly the same timeline as last essay, so you'll want to get started soon. It's a little different because of spring break, so you have a little bit more time, and I'm not making you turn in anything right after spring break, but a little bit close to after spring break, March 24th, so you can work ahead. I'm going to jump over to the outline. So basically, this is just one way to organize your essay, but I highly recommend it. It's a really organized way to approach this. And I've got a sample thesis statement. So I don't even like this this show. However, I thought this essay was really good. And this thesis is really strong. And again, for your working thesis, it doesn't have to be this detailed or specific, but this was from the final draft. So it says, even though 2.5 Men is considered to be vulgar and risque by some, so that's actually the objection included in the thesis, you don't have to do that. It is one of the most hilarious situation comedies on television because of superior writing and acting. And you'll see there's 3 criteria there: hilarious, writing, and acting. So they're going to spend at least a paragraph on each of those in the body. You're going to do a little bit of summary. So we're going to look at summary this week. And basically you'll be letting people know what it is we're looking at. So just 1 paragraph of summary. One big mistake that some students do is they make this a summary essay. So I don't need to know everything that happens in the movie. I just need the quick facts so that I can understand what we're talking about. After 1 paragraph of that, you're going to jump over to your judgment. So you'll go first through to humor. So you'll see up here he talks about humor. So he has to write a whole paragraph about humor. And I've included this, we'll go over this, but it's a way to develop your paragraph. If you're feeling like, a lot of students feel like they don't know all the details to put in a paragraph or how to make it long. This is a really good model, and we'll be looking at that later, probably next week. But you can look ahead if you'd like. You'll see the next body paragraph is about the writing, because that's what's stated in the thesis. And again, you're going to look at evidence and analysis. So give examples and then analyze or show why they're so great. The third one is acting. And again, evidence and analysis. What's so great about the acting? Give some examples. You can then, some students combine these or they keep them separate, but you'll want to do a section about why would someone not want to watch this movie or TV show, right? In this case, it's 2.5 Men. Some people don't like Charlie Sheen or something, right? Like you could put that in there. And then you're going to respond to the objections telling me why I should still watch it. And then finally, a conclusion that reiterates a point you already made in a new and interesting way and connects with the reader. And we'll be looking at a sample evaluation throughout this time so that you get some examples. And I've included the link to intros and conclusions if you're still struggling with those. So you can also write a negative review. I've talked a lot about like a positive review if you really want to convince people to watch the movie. You can also write an evaluation about something you really don't like, right? And convince me why it's so terrible. Convince your audience why it's so terrible. I really want you to write about something you care about, and I really want you to get started soon because you do have to do a little bit of research on this. You're probably going to end up being sick of this movie or album because you're going to have to watch it or listen to it several times to get really good examples and analysis. So that means you have to get started early. So if you have any questions, you feel overwhelmed, you're not sure where to start, please do meet with your pal. That's what they're there for, and that's what I'm here for. So I have advice hours every Tuesday. Stop by. I'm happy to get you started even if you have nothing written down. So please use us as resources. That's about it. Thank you for watching. And if you have more questions or concerns, please always feel free to reach out to me. Okay, thank you.